Nothing in this podcast is intended as investment advice, and the people in this podcast may hold positions in the stocks they talk about. Do not buy any investment based solely on a tip or recommendation. Please do your own research.
Hello and welcome to the Midweek Takeaway. Today we're joined by Leon Coetze, CEO of Jubilee Metals. Welcome, Leon. How's things?
Good, thank you. Good, thanks, Phil. Thanks for the opportunity again.
No problem. So obviously today we note the news of refinement of the Zambian strategy and operations update for the 6 months to the 31st of December 2022. It seems that there have been some challenges along the way, namely power and water, but you've overcome them in the most part. PGM and chrome in Yoni has performed well, and Zambia, despite the setbacks, you've come out the other side stronger. Do you want to expand on this, please?
Yeah, absolutely, Phil. You are right. If you look at Jubilee, we are a combination of two companies in two jurisdictions, both in South Africa and in Zambia, in platinum group metals and chrome on the one side, copper and cobalt on the other. And you are right. We faced our challenges over these past 6 months, brought mainly on by power, well-documented power issues in South Africa. But the operational team overcame that. If you look at our numbers, in South Africa, we were able to produce on target our PGM ounces and in fact exceeded target on our chrome tonnages, delivered well on our track to deliver the 1.2 million tons of chrome product for this financial period. We were able to buffer the impact of power in South Africa by using our capacity, which we enlarged during the previous period by accelerating production when power was on, building up stock in front of our PGM refinery so that can run continuously through, even if there are power interruptions at our chrome operations. In Zambia, we were more acutely exposed to the power and water issues in Zambia. As much as it was painful during that period, the outcome is positive. We were able to secure, with the intervention of government, we approached them to ensure that not only today do we have our own private water infrastructure, but equally we have an implemented management plan and an upgraded power infrastructure at Rowan to allow us to expand Rowan on the back of that intervention brought in by the authorities and Jubilee. We also accelerated the implementation of our cobalt in Zambia to ensure that we bring forward the multi-commodity component in Zambia, where we now are able to produce two metals out of our infrastructure, two metals that bring in earnings and two metals that dilute overhead. So yes, it was painful, but the outcome is very positive where Jubilee landed.
Okay, Leon, it was good to meet you down in Indaba, even though we only met for a few minutes. So we went to all of the places that are mentioned in this RNS. So we went to the site that's not far from Johannesburg. We went to Rowan. We went, I'm going to remember the name one of these days, Kabwe, Kabwe. Yeah. So we could see on the ground what's actually physically happening. And obviously there's been problems with the electricity and there's been problems with the water. But what was the main reason why the Zambian government, in terms of Rowan, were happy to then provide you with the electricity? And obviously you've done all the work with the water yourselves as well.
Well, excellent. Well, there's two things really that come out of it. First and foremost is the Zambian government and the authorities truly believe in the Jubilee strategy we presented to them, and the fact that within a very short space of time, since 2019, actually being in Zambia, we've delivered on that promise. Today, we employ nearly 650 people in Zambia. And it was a direct conversation, frank conversation with government and the authorities, but they recognized that not only are we a strategic employer in Zambia, but we are a key investor in Zambia, and we are just at the beginning of our growth. And that really was the outcome of a very positive meeting in Zambia, where, as you said, not only have they committed to implement what we call this power management plan, which the effect has been already tremendous on our operations, but they have in fact committed to provide us additional power at our existing infrastructure to motivate us to accelerate the implementation of our plan by expanding our operational footprint in Zambia. So as much as, yes, there was pain during this period, the outcome is extremely positive for us, that we are able to expand a facility with secured water. Remember, last year we built a new water infrastructure we now own, and with an expanded power infrastructure, which they already implemented over this period for us, and the ability to now expand that footprint instead of having to build a brand new facility as part of our Northern Copper strategy. So outcome positive. but to get there had a few bumps and pains along the way.
Yeah, I know. I mean, Rowan as a place is a pretty big area, just so people understand. It's not a small area where you just have one plant. It's, we were driving around and it was taking us maybe 5-10 minutes to get to the offices in the car. So this is quite a vast area. So tell people, where are you going to get the copper from, and how much of a positive environmental impact is that going to have for Zambia, clearing up all of these messes?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, we have two key sources. Of course, the waste, the historical waste, which is something we currently are doing, where we are processing historical waste stored in many instances with no regard to the environmental and the safety of people around these facilities. We are processing these tailings and storing tails from these sites onto modern facilities, protected and environmentally secured on these facilities. So it's a dramatic impact. You just have to go to Kabwe to go and visualize it, what the impact is. The second key source we had targeted all along in the discussion with government is to partner with third-party run-of-mine suppliers, specifically looking at your smaller and medium-sized mining opportunities, which there are many in Zambia. And in fact, there are many making the news currently in Zambia as they are finding tremendous opportunities for open castable copper ores. We are perfectly positioned to partner with these companies and process their material. You know, if you look at South Africa, when we completed our infrastructure investment in South Africa and demonstrated our processing ability, how efficient we operate, we took a facility in South Africa from 40,000 tons a month to today more than 220,000 tons every month of material being processed, driven by third-party suppliers who want access and be exposed to these efficiencies we offer. And that's no doubt how Zambia, I have no doubt, will explode once Rowan operation is expanded and once the message is well understood by what we can actually offer for these miners.
That's great. I rest assured here with a piece of chrome and a piece of copper that on my desk that I brought back from South Africa. I know I wasn't supposed to bring them, but such is life. Put this in, just don't tell anybody. So yeah, I can now, having been on the ground, envisage what is going to happen. I mean, in what sort of time frame do you think you're going to have the ability to have good run-of-the-mine supply? Because there's no issues with the waste and the tailings, because there literally is maybe billions of tons of this stuff all over Zambia and actually quite close to where you are. But how quickly do you think you're going to have run-of-the-mine stuff that's going to come in for the copper in Rowan?
I think it's going to be rapid. You know, we're already in very advanced discussions with some of these suppliers who are well progressed in their development. Based on their own timelines, they are 4 or 5 months away from commencing operations and starting to deliver material to us. So the pressure is on us to be ready. It's what we allude to in our announcement, that we are expanding Rowan's front end to ensure we are able to simultaneously process both run-of-mine from these suppliers as well as our tails, exactly as we do in South Africa, where we've demonstrated how you can do them simultaneously. So the pressure is on us to be ready for this material, as I've no doubt some of these guys who are really working hard to bring those timelines even forward, that we need to be ready within 4 months to accept this material.
And what is the plan then? You will it will be processed in Rowan. You're going to produce a concentrate of this, and then that concentrate will go to Kabwe to turn it into the copper. Is that what your plan is, or is it something different?
Yeah, I mean, that's the first part of it. The first part is to fill Rowan to the rafters. It can do, with the right grade, it can go right up to 14,000 tons of copper per annum. We're now expanding the cobalt to be significant cobalt as well. But our target is, and our eye remains on expanding to the northern side of Zambia. We've targeted 2 opportunities. One is a refinery currently that is not being utilized. It's been in care and maintenance for a while, and we are in discussions to see how do we secure access to that facility. And of course, the second one is, which we've announced, is the binding MOU we executed with Mopani to develop a refining footprint on their decommissioned section of their refining footprint to ensure that we have the capacity to go well beyond 30-odd and 35,000 tons of copper per annum, and to ensure we have the refining capacity to deliver that kind of tonnage.
Having seen it ourselves, most impressed with what was going on. And, even just doing the simple maths from where you are now to a $1 billion company has got to be within the next 12 to 24 months. Not dollar, £1 billion company, because the rapid increase in volume is going to come. It's obvious. It's there. It's okay. You guys have to execute. But as I've said before, Afrikaans people execute. So therefore, and I don't mean kill people, I mean execute their plan. Okay, so I can see it's going to happen. We were very impressed with all the staff and how knowledgeable everybody was and how efficiently everything was run. And I look forward to congratulating you on that in the next period of time, because I can't see anything that's really going to stop you now that you've got the governments behind you, the electricity, the water. The feedstock is almost a given, and I think people have to understand that there's so much of it about that this really isn't a concern. The issue is how quickly can you process the thing.
It's so well put. Exactly. I mean, we've got the government supporting us. They really see the value we're bringing on the tailings environmental side, on our investment. We've brought as you say, the processing footprint is significant and impressive what's been achieved in such a short period of time. But it's also accurately, as you say, at Rowan, we've secured a very large footprint to allow us to expand Rowan on a multiple. The missing link at Rowan was the infrastructure, which has now been brought to being as well. So you're quite right. I mean, it's up to us now to execute, expand, and take up this enormous opportunity being offered to us from the junior and smaller mining sector in Zambia.
Yeah, I remember seeing on site. I was quite taken aback by it. Was when we saw the copper cathodes being pulled out of the electrolysis area, and there was gasps of wow, look at that. When you see how bright it is and shiny, and you just think, and this was a real quality. I mean, it's like 99.999, isn't it? The quality of this copper. Do you want to elaborate on that a little bit more about that, Leon?
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, we produce A-grade copper cathode at Sable, all the way from waste. A-grade, which demands a premium in the market. Copper prices for the 6-month period was slightly softer, but we all have seen the rapid appreciation in the copper price going through December and in January carrying right through to February. The fundamentals behind copper is looking extremely good at the moment. So we're in a very good position, to be able to be in a position where we have the refinery, we're making copper cathode, and now we simply ramp up production with an existing implemented processing footprint. That's a very powerful position to be in.
Yeah, and I think you wouldn't be selling that at any major discounts, would you, right, in terms of LME?
Oh, not at all. You're getting it. Actually, we're selling it above LME. We get a premium for the quality of copper we produce.
Sure. And obviously, I like the fact that you can switch in the different circuits there. That was something I learned that was quite interesting about the way that the Cobway or the way Sable works.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, we've really worked hard to bring forward the cobalt production line at Sable because it's so powerful to have your multi-commodity strategy, to have both cobalt and copper, especially at when you're able to dilute your operating costs, you're able to dilute your overheads with two commodities coming through, two commodities that are in demand, and especially since our cobalt is from a waste being processed, it makes it a particularly responsibly sourced cobalt in Zambia.
Yeah, which is obviously what everybody's looking for right now, obviously with the DR Congo thing going on. So absolutely. Thanks very much for your time. And we look forward to welcoming you back in the future with further news updates.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity again.
This podcast was brought to you by Roast PR Limited. If you would like to appear on a future episode of The Sunday Roast, please email admin@thesundayroast.net.